What's inside Blue Origins New Shepard?
Welcome, guys, to the crew capsule.
Jeff Bezos is not just the man behind Blue Origin, he is also the richest person on Earth. And Bezos has taken it upon himself to open space travel to the regular public, which will be possible through Blue Origin's reusable rocket, New Shepard. How much are you willing to pay to get a ride in Blue Origin's rocket flight to space? You would ascend 62 miles above the surface of the Earth, where you'll also experience weightlessness as astronauts do. Interestingly, this is the exact point where the atmosphere of Earth ends and we basically enter space. New Shepard is essentially a rocket, a reusable rocket developed by Blue Origin, which aims to attract adventurous space enthusiasts to take a trip into space. Let's just take a walk through this incredible experience while we take a look at what's inside New Shepard.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, liftoff.
The New Shepard represents everything Blue Origins has worked for since it was first founded in 2000. But what is the point of the New Shepard and why are we reusing rockets? Well, since rockets cost tens of millions of dollars to develop, it makes a lot of sense if we are able to reuse them without having to dispose of them after a single use. That's exactly what this company has been exploring since the year 2015, and now they believe that they have perfected this experience and tested everything very thoroughly. So much so that Jeff Bezos himself recently took a trip in it, along with 3 other companions. So, if Jeff Bezos is confident enough to ride in it, in that case, it definitely helps in increasing people's confidence about the whole experience. The first time New Shepard took off from Earth and returned back to us was also the first time it had ever been done in history. Even SpaceX was beaten by a month before they landed their very first rocket. On April 29, 2015, New Shepard entered its very first stage of the test. It took off, reached the edge of space, and then returned back down to make a landing just 4.5 feet from where it had started. With that smooth maneuver, Blue Origin made history by becoming the first company to safely land a vertical rocket. Through this flight, Blue Origins was able to test almost every aspect of the rocket, such as parachute deployment and re-entry, amongst other things. This flight was only the first of the 15 test flights that Blue Origin was going to launch between 2015 and 2021. The second mission was then sent by the end of November in 2015. Blue Origin learned from the first test flight and implemented what they had learned in the second one. It was then that the company felt that it needed to show that this technique could be implemented again and that it wasn't just a one-time thing. That is when the third launch was conducted on the 22nd of January 2016. In the words of the company's engineers themselves, this was done to show that it could be done again, and that too in a shorter period of time. Blue Origin explains that the purpose of conducting as many as 15 test flights was to guarantee safety. No matter how small or big, every aspect had to be taken into consideration to ensure that the result was absolutely safe. By May 2nd of 2019, the 11th test flight of this rocket was out. While most launches were mostly a repeat of the previous tests, each was able to give the engineers at Blue Origin something extra to take forward. Changes would be implemented swiftly and then observed in the next flight. 2019 and 2020 were particularly busy for Blue Origins, with more than half of the test launches being made in this period. The 15th and final test launch was eventually made in April of 2021. That was the point that Blue Origins officially announced that it was ready for commercial operations. Blue Origin targeted its first crewed launch on July 20th, which was also the 52nd anniversary of humans landing on the moon. Bezos himself has been on the flight, along with his brother and 2 other people. Interestingly enough, the other 2 passengers also set the records for the youngest and the oldest people traveling to space. Now that you're aware of Blue Origin's journey on the New Shepard, let's look at the amazing mechanics of the rocket itself. Typically, the New Shepard would launch vertically and soar for about 2.5 minutes before the main engine cuts off and the capsule parts away from the rocket. Passengers feel weightlessness for about 4 minutes during the flight, which lasts a total of 11 minutes. Passengers on board are at an altitude of 307,000 feet at this point, which also allows them to see the curvature of Earth amid the absolute darkness of space. The spacecraft coasts for a couple of minutes in space before it re-enters the atmosphere with the help of an autonomous, rocket-powered vertical landing system to touch down. The rocket itself was named after NASA Mercury program astronaut Alan Shepard, who was the very first American who flew into space in 1961. The capsule itself isn't too large, as one of the passengers accompanying Jeff Bezos already talked about it. She commented that if it were bigger, people would be able to move around more freely while they experienced free fall. Up to 6 people can fly in this rocket simultaneously. According to Blue Origin, however, the interior volume is supposedly big enough for everyone to float and move around. The large windows will provide a magnificent view of Earth. Apart from the passengers, the spacecraft aboard New Shepard can carry standardized experiments of up to 23 kilograms. Where does that leave us with the whole money-making plans of Blue Origin? Jeff Bezos has said that the company has already accumulated around $100 million from paying customers who wish to travel to the edge of space in New Shepard. The company hasn't said yet if it will set an official ticket price or when exactly those seats will be open to the general public. However, at the moment, the company is getting in touch with people who took part in the bidding process for Blue Origin's first human spaceflight. They also have plans to launch 2 more crews this year, which sounds exciting. Funk, the oldest person to have traveled to space, already said that she is ready to go to space again. "I want to go again, fast," she said with excitement. All of this definitely makes us wonder if a flight like this was even safe. No one had been on board on either of the first 15 flights, of course. Only one technical issue came up during these launches, the first launch when the booster happened to crash. There were 0 problems with all the rest of the 14 launches though. They have worked through small technicalities over time and repeated tests and have nearly perfected the whole process. Despite that, the federal government does not impose any sort of regulations on a vehicle like New Shepard, a rocket like that has not been certified by the Federal Aviation Administration because the FAA is prohibited from posting any such requirements until 2023. This is because emerging space companies such as Virgin Galactic and Blue Origin require a learning period to allow them to play with designs and procedures. A little too much regulation too soon would interrupt innovation that could otherwise lead to more efficient designs. However, as with most things remotely risky, everyone on board must sign forms acknowledging consent to the risks. Now that you know what's inside the New Shepard, would you be willing to pay to take a trip to space? Or would you rather wait for the prices to go down and try your luck in the future? Let us know in the comments down below. With that, we'll bring this video to an end. We hope you liked what you saw. Do let us know in the comments if you'd be willing to pay for this 10-minute experience. If so, how much? Thank you for watching, and do consider subscribing to our channel for similar content in the future.